Noninkables. Hello, welcome to Noninkables. We are on podcast number 26 of season 2. I still haven't come up with a tagline. We did get a haircut. I actually got it during a set champs. We'll talk about that. This weekend was wild. It was crazy. So this past week, we played in 2 set champs, and I also played my MGL match. For my MGL match, I played against, and he was playing Amber Steel aggro, so with like Lady and Lawrence and Doc. I did win that one 2-0, but I think that is a relatively easy matchup for Red Blue. But I do think that after this week, I'm probably going to have to switch up my deck because in MGL, like people kind of, it's technically like a regional-ish event. There's like 60 people in it. We're all from the Bay somewhere or Sacramento, which is like, I feel like they're like North Bay, basically, because we go to a lot of their competitions and they'll come to our competitions. So even though they're like kind of far away, it still feels like they're part of the community because I see them all the time, like this weekend. So I think people are going to start teching against my deck, Red Blue, because it's already happening to Tyler. So Tyler, because he's now famous for playing Red Blue Sharks, people are just playing aggro stuff against him. And so I feel like I'm going to have to start changing my deck so that doesn't happen to me. But that was early in the week. We got it done like, I don't know, I think the matches like got matched on Tuesday, and we did it pretty early on. Brian played his match yesterday, like Monday's like the last day, and he played green steel. I think his opponent was playing purple steel, and Brian won his match. Tyler, I think, also played his yesterday, and he unfortunately lost because his opponent basically was like, oh, I picked this deck to beat your deck, which I think makes it a little less fun because you can technically change decks every week. And so if you are like a more well-known person, people can definitely just pick decks that they know will do well against the deck that they think you're going to play. So, okay, that was early this week. Oh, I also worked on some mats. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I foiled out my Jafar mat, one of my champion mats. It's so pretty. I'm going to show it on video. So I foiled out with red all the eyeballs of the cobras. So like the one in his staff and then the ones in the background. There's like the one on this side and then the 3 on the other side here. And then like the champion is also foiled, but it's foiled with like a more matte foil that I use on our t-shirts. And then same thing here down here with the Reign of Jafar. So this gold is actually foiling, and then I did the eyes in red and Jafar. And then on actual Jafar, I did more of like a highlight gold rather than like a full gold. And then I did the smoky stuff coming out of his Hexwell crown. So yeah, that looks really good. I also did a We Are Immortals mat for Tyler for Ink because it was like one of the mats that I had. Like I have a bunch of extra mats that I'm going to do, and it was one of the ones that I have. And I had already done one We Are Immortals, but the one I did for Tyler, I did 2 colors of foil instead of 1. So like the spikes that go out, the light things that go out that are in the background, I did in like a darker blue foil, and then the stuff that's like Minority Report around his like hands and his head helmet thing, those are all in like a lighter foil, and I think it looks a lot better with the color contrast. I also, because as of yesterday, I am done with one of my leadership positions for work because I quit. And I have to say, yesterday, like people would message me and I'd be like, oh, sorry, it's not me anymore. Please forward this to so and so. Best feeling ever. I do think they're going to struggle a little bit without me, partly because they are not prepared, even though I gave them like over a month notice. But like one of the things I would work on is the schedule, and currently only the midwife lead has access to edit the schedule, and our like overall lead person, like the director, they somehow, when they gave her access to another schedule, like admin access, they took out her access for this schedule. I don't know how that happened because that other schedule is housed within our schedule, so it should be all one admin access. But I think so personally, I think the issue is that she went and requested for admin access for that schedule, even though she didn't need to because she technically already had it because it was built within our current schedule. And then they're like, oh, she probably means that she just wants access to that only. And so they removed her access to our regular schedule. Yeah, so there's like one person right now who can edit the schedule. Yeah, but it's been great. So now I have more time. Oh, so how I got to the subject. So that means that now I am starting to take orders for locals because I haven't figured out the shipping thing for mats. So if you have a mat and you are a local who can see me in real life, either like at locals or you live in the Bay, I am foiling mats for people. I got my first 2 official orders, I suppose, and then I'm doing one for Gary for the team. I'm not going to show you the mat that Gary wants me to foil because I don't want to get censored on YouTube. It's a little slutty. I mean, it's not like hentai or anything, but it's slutty. It's like an anime girl, basically a hot anime girl. But okay, sorry. So I am doing 2 for, I think his name is Brandon. This is the problem. I know everyone by their Discord name or their Melee name. On there, he's Gibbs. So in my head, he's Gibbs, but I think his name is actually Brandon. But I'm doing for him a Scar mat, like the set champ mat, that one, and then the Ursula set champ mat. I've already done one of my own Scar mats, and I did it like one color just for the smoke by his feet, and I did like a dark matte green. But I think I have like a better idea. So his mat is actually gonna look different from the one I foiled for myself. I think it's gonna look way better. And then the Ursula Champion mat I've been working on, and I think it's gonna be insane. He pays he basically gave me free reign and was like, do whatever you want. And so I'm going a little crazy. It's gonna be a little complex. I think right now, so far, I have like 4 colors picked out for different like highlights and stuff. But like obviously you gotta highlight like the eyes of the eel, you gotta highlight like her crown, you gotta highlight the scepter, you gotta highlight her jewels, you gotta highlight like the glow that's coming off of like everybody's ink caster thingy. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, it's probably gonna be like 7 colors. But yeah, so if you want a mat and you are a local, let me know. The pricing is, if you give me a mat to foil, it'll be between like $50 to $100, depending on the complexity. And then, of course, if it's like super simple, I might actually lower the bottom price, like $40. But it depends because I haven't technically like priced anything out yet since it's just starting. And I feel like when people give me free reign, I go a little crazy. And so it might be a little bit more complex than ones I've made before. But I don't know. I'm a very crafty person who I feel like ended up in a not super crafty profession. And so this is very fun for me. And so I don't even know. I didn't do any math to see if I even make a profit. Maybe a little bit, but really I'm just trying to like pay for the cost of the materials. And also I want everyone to have blinged out mats because they look so cool. Okay, so that is the whole mat thing. And any new ones I do, I will show on the Instagram. So far for myself, I foiled the Elsa mat, the Belle mat, which I think looks really good. The Donald Duck Buccaneers mat, which I think it looks really good. Ooh, the other one I'm working on is the Gen Con mat from last year. So it's the one that has all the different ink colors. And that one I'm doing for myself. But I think if someone were wanting me to do that one, it might be like upwards of like $200 because the amount of different colors and details that I am trying to do in that one is going to be crazy. Yeah. Okay. So that's mat stuff. What else? This weekend we went to 2 set champs. We went to Games of Brentwood and DVY. Games of Brentwood, I got first again. Whoa, third mat, crazy. And then DVY didn't even make top 8. I think part of it was I was really tired. Part of it was also bad draws. Part of it was also I feel like I lost all semblance of how to play the game, which I think I don't know happens to me sometimes because I feel like I have these moments where I'm like, oh, I understand the deck, I understand the game, I see my lines, I know what to do, and then it passes, and then I'm just like, how many cards did I start out with? So DVY was one of those. But at DVY, Brian got second place. So good, so good. And I think he would have won, but his opponent, which was Kenny, like first game drew perfectly, basically drew any answer he needed. And then second game, I think Brian may have misplayed. I don't know. I wasn't watching. I was too nervous. I feel like I was more anxious about his matches than I was about my own top 8 matches, so I couldn't watch. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, Games of Brentwood. So get a little background. So Games of Brentwood is like a more inland area compared to where we live. And we're already inland. We're like not near the water, but we live in a valley. So often if the fog comes over from the shore parts, it like settles into our valley. And so it's really cool weather-wise, temperature-wise. And it was actually like pretty cloudy that day. And so it was cold. So I wore sweatpants and a thin hoodie with like no shirt underneath because it was pretty thin because I thought it was going to be cold. And I forgot that when you go more inland, it's hot, which I should know because I used to live in San Ramon, which is like way more inland. And it was always hot there, like 100 degrees in the summer. While where I live now, well, I mean, where I live now gets up to like 90, but I forgot about the temperature difference. So that is setting the scene of some of my actions later. So we go to Games of Brentwood, and first round I match against Brayden, who is a child. He plays in our locals at DVY. He plays Ambersteel aggro. So obviously going in, I was like, oh, I know that. Also, I feel like the kids in our area love to trash talk. And the whole time he was like, oh, I hope I match into you. I hope I match into you. And I was like, no, I don't want to match into you because you're going to play aggro. So I won the die roll, which I was like, oh, thank goodness. First game, I was so close, but not close enough to winning. So the score ended up being 19-20. I mean, it was pretty close. It was like I had a lore, he had 2 lore. I had 3, he had 5, 5, 7, 7, 11, right? So we're like neck and neck. And then I think I could only get to 19 and I couldn't get rid of his stuff. So he won. Second, or no, I won the first game. No. I lied. I won the first game. It was close though. Second game, I was on the draw. I got smoked. He got to 13. I was at 2. Last game, I was on the play and I lost. And it was a misplay on my part, I think. So I think there was at one point, so I wrote a note to myself. I said, should have hyper ramp to be prep. So I think there was one turn, I didn't want to ink, I think, a shark, but I really should have just, because I think I played a sail and a tipo and I didn't like take full advantage of the ramp ability and because I didn't want to ink shark. And I should have just inked it so the next turn I could play B prep because then it was like he got ahead too far. So I lost the first round. Second round, I played against Isaiah, who is a local to Games of Brentwood, and he was playing Racers. First game I was on the play, I won 20-4. He did get to 8, and then I Pirates lifed him twice. And the second game I was on the draw, and it was like pretty close, and then ended up winning. He was at 13. And I heard later that the Games of Brentwood didn't really like advertise that they were doing set champs. And so their locals thought that they were like coming in to play like league to get league like catch up points. So they didn't know it was set champs. So they were all playing like theme decks, which I think really put them at a disadvantage. I don't know if that's actually true, but if it is, that really sucks to like not know that your store is doing set champs. Like it was like a tiny sign. And then to have people come in from other places and play. And then like you have your like theme deck. Okay, so that was round 2. Round 3, I played against John, who was playing a red-blue shark deck, but I think his had like some other tech cards. I don't remember what they were, but we played 2 games. First game, I was on the play, and it was super grindy. So at one point, I had 8 lore, he had 4, and then he Pirates Life me, so then I was back down to 6. And he went all the way up to 9. And then I Pirates Lifed him back. So then I got up to like 10. He was at 7. I think Pirates Lifed him again. I was at 13. He was at 8. And then he got a bunch of lore, got to 17 by Pirates Lifing me. Then I was down to 11. And then in the end, I won. I don't know what I wrote. I wrote 2 car. I don't even know what that says. But yeah. And then the second game was on the draw, and it was similarly a very, very grindy game with lots of Pirates Life. And I did end up winning, but I only had 5 cards left in my deck at that time. In the 4th round, I matched against Tegan, who's one of our locals, and she was playing green-yellow and had kind of very unfortunate draws, super bricky. So first game, I was on the play, and I won without her getting any lore. I think she said she had 2 big Diablos and 2 Under the Seas in her hand and no Prince John, so it was rough. The second game I was on the draw, and she ended up getting to 15 before I got any lore, but then red-blue does red-blue things, takes control, and wins. Okay, so because I won so quickly that round, I had all this time at the end of the round. I think like 30 to 40 minutes at the end of the round still, and it was super hot. I remember wearing sweats and a hoodie, which I can't take off because I didn't put a t-shirt underneath. I would just be in a bra, which is not appropriate. So I went to the TJ Maxx next door and I bought a dress. And it's so funny because I came back, I changed it to the dress, and then they were like, Did you just change outfits? I was like, yeah, it was really hot. I went to TJ Maxx to get a dress. And then prior to the tournament starting, I had said like, oh, if I do really bad, I'm gonna go next door and get a haircut. And then if I do well enough to ID, I'm gonna go next door to get a haircut. So round 5, I had done well enough that I could ID into Top Cut. So I was like, okay, see you later, guys. I'm gonna go get a haircut. So cut my hair. And my hair was like, it cut maybe like 18 inches off. I had long, like waist length hair. And then I walked in, I was like, oh, it's an Asian lady, this is perfect. I was like, can I get shoulder length hair? And so I showed back up with a haircut. So it was, Gerald was like, you're doing like a fashion show. You come back with a new outfit and then you come back with a haircut. I was like, yeah, I had to. It was so crazy. I was like, what kind of set champs am I doing? I feel so unserious. And then top 8, I match into Brian, which is, I think, my secret talent / curse. And I always feel bad when I match into him in competition because I feel like when we play in competition, I always win. Almost always, not always. Some often though, I win, especially if it's like a big competition. And if we're playing not in competition or like at locals, like weekly locals, he always beats me. So I just feel like I have better luck in big competitions, or maybe I'm just paying more attention. I don't know. But I won the die roll first game, and I managed to lose the first game, it looks like. I got to 9, he was at 6, and then he won. And then the next game, I was on the play, and I smoked him, no competition. I think the first game he won, no competition. And then the last game, I was on the draw, and I think I just got like the perfect hand. And I think I played maybe a manner or two and won. I'll put a picture that Daryl took while we were playing because there was a bunch of us locals in the top 8. And then the second, or for top 4, I played Ryan. I didn't write down what he was playing. I wonder. I don't remember. I think I want to say it was Amber Steel, but I'm really not sure. I think it was Amber Steel, though. I was on the draw the first game, and the first game I lost. It was like pretty close in the beginning. We were 12 to 12, and then he goes 13, 15, 18. So the second game I was on the play, and I won. He got to 14. I was at 6, and then I Pirates Lifed him twice, and then probably did some shark shenanigans. And then the last game I was on the draw, and I won. But that one was also close because at one point we were both 14-14. I wish I remember what he played. I think it was Amber Steele's song, maybe, but I'm not sure. And then the last game for Top Cut, I played Felix, who was playing green purple, but like not green purple discard and like not really a standard green purple tempo. Do I know what purple tempo means? No, I just know it means not discard. It was like kind of green purple aggro-ish. I don't know. He built the deck, so it was like more of a homebrew deck. And he said we were talking like, I think in round 5, and he was like, oh, I'm not a good deck builder. I have like a lot of 2-ofs and 1-ofs in my deck. And so like some notable cards that I remember, he played Curse Merfolk, 2-drop Ursula, obviously. Prince Philip, the one with Ward. Anna, the one that's like 3 cost, and then if you pay another 2, you can make them discard a card, I think, or banish a character. Go-Go, and forgot what other cards, but there were like a lot of random cards. I went second because I was lower seed, and the first game I won. So he got to 17, and I was only at 9. And then I think in that game, I successfully distracted him with a manner. So I think I played a manner, and he had on board, I think, like a Prince Philip, which quests for 2. He had a Bonsai, which also quests for 2, and something else. And then instead of racing me and just questing, he ran a bunch of characters into my manor. So it gave me a little extra time to do stuff. The second game I was on the draw, and I lost. I don't remember, but somehow, I think he also played Lyle Tiberius Rourke. So because I was like, how did I lose lore? It was because of Lyle. Ended up being like 20-8. And then the last game I was on the play, and I ended up winning, but I did misplay. So he had at one point 2 libraries out, and I had a Maui Hero to All, a Tipo, and I think I just played a Hades. And so I ran into one library with the Maui, and then I quested with Tipo instead of hitting one of the libraries with Tipo because I like couldn't do the math right. I was like, because in my head I was like, okay, if I hit with the Tipo, like it doesn't get rid of the library, and then for some reason it didn't click in my brain that next turn if I hit it with the Tipo again, it would just get rid of the library. and I could use Maui and Hades to get rid of the other one, because I think I'm so used to like thinking about getting rid of manners that I forgot that library of 8. And so I quested with Tipo instead. And then the next turn, I got rid of one library with Hades and Maui. And then I was like, oh, had I hit this with Tipo last turn, I would have gotten rid of both libraries. So one of the libraries lived a turn extra. And then I think after that, I played 2 manners. And then in the very end, I think I had a grandma out and 2 manners, and he was able to get rid of the grandma. And I was at like, I want to say 13. I was at 15 at that point. So then I had to play something that quested. And I think I like visioned, and I ended up, or sail or something, and I got a Tipo. And so I played the Tipo. So I think at that point I was like at 19. And so he had to either get rid of my manners, and I think he could get rid of, at that point I had 1 manor left. So he could get rid of the manor. He had to get rid of the manor and the Tipo, and he could get rid of one but not the other. And so Tipo ended up winning the game, because I feel like always Tipo feels like a pretty bad draw at the end of the game. I feel like I want something big, but this is the second time where Tipo has literally won me the game because I had manor out, and they had it. It's hard for decks to deal with both a location and a character that's not exerted. And so I won because of Tipo. And so that is how at Once a Champs I won as a champ mat, got a new dress and a haircut. Okay, and then that, and like, I think that finish is pretty good because the night before I had worked a night shift. So I think I had gotten maybe 3 hours of sleep, and then I drank a bunch of energy drinks. Okay, so the next day was a DVY, and I actually worked that morning. I went to work at around, so I think I went to work at like 6:30. Usually go to at 8. So I went early and then rounded really fast. Luckily, some of my coworkers helped me see some people, and then was able to even make it to DVY. Oh, at DVY, Gary gave us these cute notebooks he went to Peru. So they're from Machu Picchu. I was last, so I didn't get to pick my notebook. Brian has the one I would have picked anyways, though. It's blue. And then also like a cute little llama pen. So super cute. So once I'm done using my Hello Kitty one, I'll probably move on to this one. Okay, at DVY, so it was so funny because the night before we looked at the list for DVY, and there was maybe like 8 people signed up, and we're like, ooh, this might not fire. And then there was some trash talking that happened on the Discord. Basically, like, they posted that I had won Games of Brentwood, so it was my 3rd set champs. And then everyone was like, ooh, are you going to do a 4P and get your 4th set champs at DVY? And then someone was like, oh, I think the finals is going to be Q and Tyler. And I was like, oh, Tyler's the final boss. And then someone else was like, oh, I think Kenny is going to win it. And then Kenny was like, I don't even know actually if they actually said that. That might be a lie. I might have made that up. But Kenny was like, oh, I'm going to try to stop them from being the finals 2 match. And he was successful in doing that because he won. And so I think there was like a lot of talk about playing at DVY and stuff. And then a bunch of people who were going to play Games of Conquered ended up coming to DVY instead. Because originally, I think a lot of people signed up for Games of Conquered because there was more people. There was like 20 people signed up for that. And they're like, oh, I just want to play more games and get more practice and have better competition. But then I think people realized that like me, Tyler, Kenny, Brian, we're all going to be at DVY. And like, oh, maybe I'll go to DVY just to have like harder competition. And so DVY, I think, ended up being like 20 something people, and Games of Conquer ended up being like in the teens, maybe. So a lot of the people moved over to DVY. And I feel like I forgot how to play this game. Okay, so first round, I played against John, aka Boy, because there's like 5 million Johns. He plays red purple. He always plays red purple. And he beat me. He owed, I don't know what the right grammar is. I got O2'd. He 2-0'd me with red purple. I was on the play both games. And I was like, ooh, I don't think I know how to play this game anymore. And he is playing like he has so many like not like cards that shouldn't be good anymore. So he was playing Pinocchio, talkative puppet, 2-drop that exerts a character. He was playing Maui's Hook. He was playing Queen's Castle and Library. He was playing the Maleficent 3-drop from chapter 1 that draws a card. It was crazy. I think what really killed me was the location. And I was like, oh, I wish I had a hook, but I don't. First game, I got to third. I was doing well in the beginning. It was like 10-4, right? And then he got a bunch of lorries at 16. I was at 13. And then he got more lore and he had a Queen's Castle and a goat and I think something else. He basically kept playing Lady Tremaine and bouncing it, and it was killing me. Second game, I was on the play, only got to 4 lore, and he totally murdered me. Second round, I played against Yuma. She is like the sweetest girl. I think I played against her like 2 sets ago at Games Martinez, but like super quiet girl. And I won the die roll, and she was playing Amber Steel Song. And oh, I almost got milled. So first game, she played like 2 whole new worlds, and I saw like also in the deck Beyond the Horizon. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get milled. I was like, hold on, can I just count my deck? And I think at that time I had like 16 cards left in my deck. And it was definitely a decision for me of like, do I quest and or do I try to draw cards to like win immediately? Like try to find a pirate's life or like chain together a bunch of actions for my shark? Or do I be more scared and not get milled? And I think I ended up going the aggressive way of like just find the answers that you can win. Because I think she went to like 14 and then I pirate lifed her, so she's back down to 12. And like I had gotten like 1 lore prior to that. And then I was able to control and then chain together a bunch of shark things, get to 20. Second game I was on the draw and she got to 13 and then I pirate lifed her and then I won. I feel like Amber Steel, as long as it's not too aggressive, is actually not that bad for red blue. And then I think both her and her partner dropped after that one. I think he was also playing Amber Steel. And then the next one I matched into Matt, who was playing red blue. It was a mirror. And first game I was on the draw, but I was able to win that. So he got to 10 and I was at 0. And then it looks like I just got lower and he didn't get any. Second game, I was on the draw and it was super, super, super close because we kept pirate slicing each other. So, like, I was at 10, he was at 14. I got to 12, and then I pirate sliced him. So then I was at 14, he was at 12. And then he pirate sliced me. So then I was at 12, he was at 14. And then he went to 16, and then I pirate sliced him back. So then we were both at 14. And then both were able to get to 4 to, let's see, we were both at 16. And then I went to 17, he pirates life me. I went to 15, he was at 19, and then he ended up winning. And then the last game, I was on the play and we ended up drawing because we ran out of time. However, I think if we had more time, I would have won because I was at 15, he was at 5. And had he not pirates life me that turn on turns, I would have won. So then I had a draw. And then the next round, I played against Ricky, who is from Sacramento. He's part of the Toontown Titans, what they're called, Toontown Titans. And he was playing red items. And I was cool. I won the die roll. And I managed to look at me. This is me playing against Ricky. Oh, you can't see it. I did the makeup YouTuber. Look at, I got all this lore. And then I think a dime Tamatoa happened. 7 lore. And then I couldn't get rid of the dime. And then I think I ended up getting to 18. And then there was like a crucial decision at that point where either I was like, oh, do I try to get rid of his stuff, like his Tamatoa? Or do I try to find my pirate's life and just win? And I decided to try to find the pirate's life to win. And I was 1 card away. And that was the correct decision because he was already at 17 and he had a Sisu in hand. So had I banished the Tamatoa, he would have just played the Sisu and dimed the Sisu. And then the next game, I lost so bad. I was on the play. I lost so bad. I think he like super ramped and then had a dime out. And then I think his hand was like Tamatoa dime, Tamatoa, and some other stuff. And he was at like 15, 16 ink and had to quill out. And so I was like, oh, it's over for me. And then the last round, I matched into John, Pixar John. So not Woinks John, who I played the first round. Pixar John. He was playing Amber Steel that he had teched against Red Blue, but he said he played no Red Blue all day. And so I was like, okay, we're both out of the running for top 8. What if we switch decks? So we switched decks. So I played Amber Steel. He played Red Blue, and he'd never played Red Blue before. And he beat me. I think we ended up recording it as a draw, but it really didn't matter. So the cards that he had teched in like a Gontu, and I forgot what else. But it was like, ooh, turns out my red blue deck is fine. And there was one part where he was like, "Oh, I don't know." He had like no cards in hand, right? And I had a bunch of cards, and he was like, "I don't know." I was like, You'll be fine. You have my deck. It'll be fine. You're gonna top deck something good." And lo and behold, he did and won. So that was like the end of my run at DVY. Oh, I did play Gary during top four. Gary was like, "Oh, do you want to play the mirror?" And I was like, "Not really, but okay." Because I already knew at that point, I was like, "I'm gonna lose. I don't know how to play this game anymore. I can tell that today I don't have it. I don't have the winning qualities. I don't have the qualities of a winner today. I don't know what I'm doing." So I played Gary and I got smoked so bad. Also because first game, I had no popsicles until like turn, I don't know, 10, 11, and he had all four popsicles and like three tomatoas. It was bad. It reminded me of Texas. And then second game, I don't even remember what happened, but I also got smoked. I only got to 3 lore and he won. And then we kind of sort of watched the other people play top 8. Well, everyone else watched. I nervously was like, I hope Ryan does well. I want him to do really good. And he did do really good. He got second. He lost to Kenny, who I had beaten at Destiny. And then afterwards, we went and got Shabu. We went to Shibuya and got Hot Pot. As always, it was delicious. And what else? And that is it for the week. So this week I have to play my MGL match. I got to check to see who I matched into. I think I'm still in the running to be in the top cut for that. Maybe. I don't know. Depends, I guess, on how many undefeated people there are. Because my record, right now, actually, I don't even know how many rounds we played. So I'm either a 2-1 or a 3-1 or a 4-1, somewhere in there. I've lost one. So maybe still in the running. And then tomorrow, we're leaving for Gen Con. Earlier in this week, I had thought that I was gonna drop the triple deck. And then Gary kept talking about how like nobody ever runs triple deck. This is like my one chance to play triple deck. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna play triple deck. I'm hoping that the competition at Gen Con will be easier than in our locals. And I think it will be because last year we went to Gen Con and last year I was not. Last year it was like set 4 stuff. And at set 4, I feel like I was not very good at this game yet. Like I was still very, very beginnery last year. Like, yeah, I won the Stitch Championship, but that I feel like was because I was playing aggro and also very lucky. And then set 4, I was like starting to learn how to play. And I was playing red, purple. And like 4 was when I learned, oh, you don't have to quest every turn. You can just not quest. So I don't think it was very good. And I remember playing people at Gen Con and they would put out their like champion mat, like their Ursula champion mat, which I didn't win any of because it kept getting knocked out of top 8 by Tyler. And then we would play and I would be like, what are you doing? Like in my head, I'm like, this is not the right move. It's like, I'm gonna destroy you. Kind of what I was thinking. I was like, oh, this is not the right move to make. And so I feel like it was easier competition. So I'm hoping that it'll be the same because I really want to get the Gen Con mat. I guess it's like the convention mat of the year where they do like all the different ink colors and then have a character from each ink color. I want to get one of those. So they're also, I guess, Ravensburger is like the co-sponsor of Gen Con. So there's going to be like a bunch of promos and stuff. They're having like a second anniversary event, which we did not get tickets for, even though that was the only thing on my wish list. But I was like 12,000 in line. So didn't get tickets for that because I think they capped it at 200. But I did book an event that is in like the same location as the anniversary event that is also Lorcana. It's like a collector's quest, which is I think is specific to Gen Con. It's collector's quest first chapter. Basically, I think you just like open pack based on the description. I think you like open packs and it's like a scavenger hunt for certain cards, and then you trade with people to get those cards. And then if you get all the cards that are like in the scavenger hunt, you get a promo. And I feel like this will be easy for me because I already have all the cards I need from set 1, and so I will just trade to get promos. But it's happening in the same location, so maybe I can like sneak over and get whatever they're giving out for the anniversary event. So the goal this type of Gen Con, play a bunch of Lorcana, win a bunch of mats, not get COVID because everyone got COVID last year, and also maybe learn to play. We signed up to learn to play, I think, Gundam, Riftbound, and Root. And so there's quite a bit of buzz about Riftbound in our locals, and Tyler says it's a really good game. So if they have like promos for Riftbound or product, we'll probably be buying that. My plan is to bring a suitcase that is mostly empty, and then we will fill it with stuff. And then if needed, I will totally buy another suitcase if needed or another bag. So yeah, is going to be Gen Con. I am going to try to post a little bit more probably on the Instagram channel. I don't think I feel comfortable like vlogging in real life. I think it still feels really weird to me, but maybe I will bring my computer. So maybe I guess I should bring my microphone too. That way, if there's like anything cool, maybe we'll do like end of the day recap, because I know that if I don't do an end of the day recap the day of, I will forget. And people will ask me and I'm like, I don't know. So maybe I'll record that. Maybe we'll do like a live stream or something, or at least I'll record stuff so that it's like a better recap. Yeah. Oh, I also got some Chinese Floodborne cards in that. Oh, my goodness, I almost dropped it. In that like raffle thing they had. I got the Chinese first chapter and Floodborne. The first chapter I already opened and it was meh. I mean, there were some like fairies and legends and stuff, but no enchanted. So when there's no enchanted, I'm like, it's a bust. But I'm excited to open these Floodborne cards because I don't have any Chinese Floodborne cards yet. And then I can like build up my parents' decks, because my parents currently, I made them like the first chapter starter decks, and I taught my mom how to play. My dad was not interested, which maybe he will eventually be, because I feel like he would get really into it and be really good because he likes strategy and stuff. He plays like Go, Chinese chess, and so I feel like strategy games are kind of up his alley. But I mean, maybe eventually they'll get into it. And then they announced, I was looking at the schedule and I was like, ooh, I want to go to Singapore, but it is right after Thanksgiving. So like technically I could probably go, but I don't feel justified in flying all the way to Singapore for like a weekend to play in a DLC, because I don't know if I could go for longer. And I don't know that Brian could go. So I'd have to go by myself, or maybe I could get my mom to go with me. But I feel like we're already playing in so many competitions that maybe I'll just wait for when they announce China, because then at least I could turn that into like a visiting family trip, since I need to visit them anyways. And then probably the Philippines, because we need to go to the Philippines to see Brian's family, and we haven't done that since we were married. We didn't even see them married because of COVID. So yeah, upcoming competitions. Brian and I are not playing, I think, in any more set champs, because the next ones are while we're at Gen Con, and I think the weekend after that there might be one at Poke Recyclers, which is local to us, but that's it. And I mean, I have 3 mats. I don't need any more. I don't know if Brian wants to play and try to win a mat, because I could just give him one, but I don't know if he wants to like, get his own. And I don't think Tyler is playing in any more set champs. I think Gary might play. I think he's playing this weekend. And then after that, Gary, me, and Brian are going to Denver Pro Play Summit. We're trying to get Mike to go. He's one of our locals, and him and John like always come together. John Voinks. They hang out a lot, so they always come to competitions together. And Mike used to play WoW with Gary, so we're trying to get Mike to go, because he doesn't have any obligations. Mike, if you're listening to this, you should totally go to Denver. And Tyler, I think the week before, is playing at Inc, most likely, which is a competition in Maryland. It has a lot of his like SLTC friends. And then I think the other thing that's happening that weekend is CCS. So he's like a little bit torn between whether he wants to play at CCS or Inc. I think Inc is going to be more fun for him because like his friends are there. But maybe CCS is like the more well-known one if he wants to become more famous. More famous. Oh yeah, get coaching from him on his Metafy. As always, there'll be a link in the description down below. And so that's what's coming up. And let me know if you want a beautiful foil mat. I will try to remember to take pictures as I make them. Like the one I made for Tyler, I totally forgot to take a picture. And then like I gave it to him and I was like, wait, hold on, can I take a picture? And so I will try to take more pictures of the mats that I make. And like this week, probably not going to make any because we're going to Gen Con and I need to pack and all that stuff. But starting next week, I'm going to ramp up production. So so more about the mat stuff. So as I said, like probably between $50 to $100 per mat if you give me the mat. If you don't have the mat, I do have some that I bought extras of. So you can pick from one of those. I have like a bunch of Elsa, and I think, what else do I have? I have like Buccaneer, We Are Immortal, Rescue Rangers, like some of the newer ones. I think the other ones I want to keep. So yeah, it's easiest if you just give me the mat you want. The rat. It's easiest if you just give me the mat you want me to foil. Ooh, I also saw at Games of Brentwood this very cool mat that someone had. It was like brown and it had all the artwork from set 6, I think. Set 6 Enchanteds, where like they all have that like matte cartographer, map cartographer type look. And there's just like a little bit of color to like let you know what ink color the thing comes from. So I saw it and I was like, ooh, this is perfect for a foil map because you just foil like the color highlight. And the person said they got it on Etsy. So I'm going to look on Etsy and see if I can find it and buy it because I want to foil that mat. And I feel like every time I see a new mat, I'm like, ooh, that would be such a good mat to foil. And I felt the same way about the set 9 mats. I don't even remember what they were. I just remember seeing them. Let's see. Okay. So, oh yeah. So for Fabled, they're doing the Bippity Boppity Boo as a mat and then the Mufasa as a mat. And the Mufasa one, for sure, I think would make a great foiled mat because it has all this like blue, swirly flower high stuff that would look great in a foil. And then the Bippity Boppity Boo would also make a super good mat because she's got all the like fairy dust and that could be holographic. So yeah, now it's like when you're, what is the phrase, like if you're a carpenter, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's how I feel. Every mat I see, I'm like, ooh, that would look good as a foil. Do you want it foiled? So yeah, let me know if you want to get a mat foiled. The easiest way is to probably message me on Discord. I'm Noninkables Q. Oh, actually, I think my real handle is like Qpanga. So Qpanga on there. So also leave a comment and then I'll contact you with deets. But let me know, okay? And I think that is it for me. Good luck to everybody at Set Champs. I hope you guys all win stuff. As always, keep shuffling. Hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-equals like me. Or I guess like other people who bricked against me. Okay, that's it. All right, bye.